How loud is this? Yeah, oh gosh. How loud is this? Did I kill you guys? Alright, so it's gonna be really fuzzy right now. Hold up. Super awkward. Well, it was working earlier. This is the crappy mic. My computer's currently not picking up my microphone. So give me a moment. Is it too loud, too quiet? Let me know. I know there's just going to be a constant background noise. Is that... It's going to be a little quiet. Okay, let's go into my settings. Sound. Alright guys, so it's not like a very exciting week. I had a very fun start there, but I was muted. You didn't hear a word. So that kind of takes the air out of that. Kelsey, Fairborn, McPherson. Is Fairborn, like, good to go? Yeah, it's not. It's just straight up not picking up. The microphone at all. Is this fine for the volume, I guess? I don't know what to do without, like, restarting my computer, probably. Okay, well, there's probably a constant hum. That would be sucky, but all right. If this works, this will work. It's just, we don't even need the mic. We don't even need the microphone. Appreciate you, Burgos. All right. Fairbairn or McPherson this week? That's not what we want. So I was originally not going to do a poll. Then Lance was sitting there in chat like, I can't wait for the poll. And I was like, well, okay. See, now you're going to hear when I type, though, because I'm typing right, like, by the microphone. How loud is that? Maybe a little ASMR. Henderson to the moon, maybe. So I was like, well, I guess I'll do, like, the superpower question. I couldn't think of anything. And then I was like, you know what's more fun? I'll choose, like, the lamest superpowers. So these are superpowers that exist. I think I would do controlling squirrels. I can already manipulate cheese. Like, I can put it in a frying pan. I can melt it. I can tear it apart. I don't really know what manipulating cheese means. I'm getting to the kicker question. All right. Fairbairn or McPherson here. So we got Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. No, I don't even know if Fairbairn's playing because didn't he just miss last week? Yeah, so right now it'd be Fairbairn or Matthew Wright. I would prefer Houston's kicker, whichever one that is. I don't know if that's Fairbairn or Matthew Wright. Do you also, Kelsey, do you have Indianapolis's kicker? Would you drop Hunter Henry for Isaiah Likely? I would not, no. To start? Or, like, just to hold on to a second quarterback? Tight end. Henderson to the move. Hell yes. Michael Burgos. If I could just get everybody working for once on that, the listener league, that would be great. CC, what is up? I'm attempting to pick up Burrow. Wish me luck. Hey, good luck. Yeah, might be back by week 14. Squirrels for the win. Hell yeah. Yeah, these are some interesting abilities. I also think that super sliding, just being able to slide incredibly long distances across surfaces would be really fun. It seems like the ability, I don't know, but it seems like the ability was like maybe not just slippery surfaces too. But I don't know. These are real superpowers in comic books. What was I gonna look for? Pick up Burrow and squirrels for the win. I don't know what I was grabbing my phone for anymore. Would you sell high on Jake Ferguson? I feel like your time to really sell high on him is kind of past, but you could probably still get something extra for him. There weren't really any tight end injuries this week. If you could, yes, I would. But I don't know what selling high on a tight end really looks like. Like, I'm just thinking rest of season, wide receivers. Like, if you could get, I mean, I feel like even Tez Johnson would almost be worth it, but probably not quite. Like, Alec Pierce, Keenan Allen, something like that, and you might just want to hold on to Jake Ferguson for that. I can't imagine you can get a Deebo Samuel, who's like wide receiver 30 rest of the season on this list. You could probably get Xavier Worthy, but I don't know that you would want to do that. So I mean, it's kind of tricky. But if you can get something that you think is selling high for him, yeah, try to get something for him. Don't give him away for nothing for sure. But I do think that he's still probably a little bit more valuable in some people's eyes than he probably will be rest of the season. As a quarterback, I would take super sliding. Hey, maybe you could just get real low too and never quite go all the way down to your knees and just slide all the way. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I was going to vote. I don't think I need a vote because controlling squirrels just seems to be the one that everybody's choosing anyways. Yeah, it's kind of the best one. It came under super lame superpowers, but honestly, I mean, it's kind of cool. So Ben Rolla, how are you doing? Start Vidal or Woody Marks this week? I believe I still have Vidal ranked higher than Marks so far in my weekly rankings. Where the heck did they go? I've got them up somewhere. How many? Oh gosh. Okay, I have so many tabs. Why do I have so many freaking tabs open? There we go. Okay, get rid of all that. Let's get rid of that. Lamest superpower Google search. Get rid of that. How's everybody doing this lovely day? It's been a long day. I'm a little tired. I still didn't find... Okay, my rankings still weren't on that. Do we have more tabs open? These ones, we'll worry about that tomorrow. What about this? What's this? That's that. Okay, yeah, there we go. Running back rankings, I've got Kamani Vidal 17th. I've still got Woody Marks back at 23rd. I am loving Woody Marks this week, though. Yeah, I still think, especially in this matchup against Tennessee, there's a chance we could see a little bit more Nick Chubb next week, a little less Woody Marks. It does seem like Woody Marks has maybe finally kind of just become the true one, but I doubt that's for every situation. This could be a little bit of a Nick Chubb game, so I think you're safer with Kamani Vidal in terms of just getting that usage for sure. Would you take Keenan for fur? I wouldn't take Keenan for fur. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just... Tight ends are tough to trade. Full PPR also might be a reason to go with Marks over Kamani Vidal, but I don't know how much they're going to... I mean, it's not like Woody Marks has been getting passed a whole lot. Yeah, I would just stick with Kamani Vidal. It seems like he is regressing during the second half of the season. Well, there was no CeeDee Lamb. That's the whole reason why he was getting targeted a bunch. Has nothing to do with first half, second half. It's just about the injury to CeeDee Lamb. Start 3, PPR, Judkins, ETN, Swift, White, or Vidal. So I do like White. I've got Vidal ranked ahead. Swift, I moved him ahead of White. And I got him back-to-back. And I do have Judkins ahead of all of them. And ETN behind Swift, Rashad, and... So it goes Swift, Rashad White, Travis Etienne. Those three are all ranked back-to-back in my rankings. I've got Judkins up at 13, and then Vidal at 17 there. So full PPR. Okay, so I'm going to say Swift, Judkins, Vidal for half PPR, White, ETN, full PPR over Judkins. I wouldn't be opposed if you wanted to play Rashad White over Quinshon Judkins in full PPR next week. I do like Rashad White against Buffalo there. I don't think Buffalo allows a whole lot of receptions to running backs would be the little issue there. That's not really an kind of just like tight ends too. Like that's not really the area of the field that teams tend to attack against them. So I would probably still stick with Judkins in full PPR, but that's pretty close. Pretty close. And I got Judkins ranked 13th, but I don't feel super comfortable with it. He hasn't been too efficient as of late, and Baltimore's not as good of a matchup as they were about 5 weeks ago. How about Achane going top 3 next year? I mean, that's darn close to getting ready to take him there. I mean, probably, right? You know, he'll probably be right up there in that conversation as an RB1 type of... Because, like, Christian McCaffrey will be a little bit afraid of him, 1 year older and all that. Probably not so afraid that he's not, like, RB1, 2, or 3, but he'll be right up there. Who's the best pickup? Hold up. Steven Piera. Almost skipped you over, yeah? Wait, Lance. Almost skipped over you. Patriots, Ravens, Packers, Chargers, Jacksonville. I would go probably Patriots, Packers. I don't know. Packers might want to put them first, going up against what's his face? The backup, the quarterback there. I'm going to go Patriots, Packers, Chargers, Ravens. Patriots, Packers, Ravens, Chargers? Yeah. Patriots, Packers, Ravens, Chargers, I think would be the order I would go there. All right, Steven Ferreira. Yes. Exactly, Lance. Depends if... 85% of the time. Concussion, guys are out for a week. So, this is the most likely scenario, but not guaranteed. Rashad White, Debo, Wandale, Tet, Trey Tucker, Christian Watson, pick 3, half PPR. So, I haven't done my flex rankings yet, but... okay, Rashad White, Debo, Tet probably will be what it is. And then... the other 3, let's see how I have them ranked so far. So I know Trey Tucker, people are going to be really high on Trey Tucker this week, and I get it. I'm just a little bit more so on Tyler Lockett myself, and then that creates a little bit of unsurety, so I'm not as high on them as I want to be in my rankings, and I might end up moving them up in my rankings. But at the current time, right now, I have them ranked Wandale as a fade. I think might have Christian Watson. No, then Christian Watson, then Trey Tucker. All within about eight players there. So Wandale, obviously not a good matchup against Green Bay. Makes me nervous. Christian Watson against New York Giants. He could go higher, depending on the health of Romeo Doubs and Matthew Golden. And then... Trey Tucker, it's a really good matchup, high upside. So if you just want to take a shot on Trey Tucker, I got no problem with that. And that would be, I think, of the bunch, you would want to do that ahead of Tedrow and McMillan. I think you got to play Debo and Rashad White, probably. Who's the best pickup in the 8-man full PBR for pure upside? Someone who could start over the running backs I mentioned above Etienne and Swift. RJ Harvey or Trey Benson? Well... as of right now, I'm not projecting Trey Benson to be back this week. Long-term, Trey Benson. This week, RJ Harvey. Drop worthy for Alec Pierce. Yeah, I think Alec Pierce gives you a little bit more upside on a per-catch basis than Worthy does. And they're both on good offenses. Of course, we trust Kansas City's offense a little bit more. So there is always that chance that like the Indianapolis offense were to just crumble and fall apart here. It has been 2 rougher weeks, in a row, but they still put up fantasy points last week. But, there's been some chinks in the armor there a little bit. So if you wanted to keep it safe, Worthy, but I think Alec Pierce offers you more upside there. Yeah, I mean, Alec is being considered the number one waiver wire option this week, right? So I think people are going to finally be picking him up just because he's getting so much pub as like the guy, even though, I started talking about him before his concussion, the week before his concussion, then he got the concussion, so obviously had to kind of pull off of that, but no, Harvey's not going. Oh, J.K. Dobbins may be going on IR. I thought you were saying, just kidding. Harvey might be going on IR. I was going to say, no, no, no. Harvey's not going on IR. J.K. Dobbins. Yeah, that's true. It is IR, so that is like at least 4 weeks. And with where we are at on the season, Harvey is probably the better combination there of upside and, a surety. It seems, if that's the report, then I would assume that's kind of likely. But sometimes that doesn't happen. Packers spends on Dart. Okay. Same order for the defenses. Yeah, I think it's kind of matchup dependent. Like, I don't love him this week. I'm up at running back like 28-ish, 29 currently in the rankings. Full PPR, maybe he would be a couple spots higher. Like David Montgomery, I think, is ahead of him, so I'd probably have him ahead of David Montgomery. But the upside in a good matchup, so I don't know what's Denver's upcoming matchups. Let's see here. So if we look, let's just go to game log here. Hopefully this is all on the screen for you nice enough. So you got Kansas City this week, a bye. That does not count against if JK were to go on IR, then we get week 13, 14, and 15 going into the playoffs. So Washington, Las Vegas, very nice. Tough matchup, week 1 of the playoffs. Okay, tough matchup. So playoffs, not so great. Getting to the playoffs, a nice little push to get there. Playoffs are 3 weeks, right? 15, 16, and 17? Yeah. So, that's that schedule. So the upside, against Green Bay and Las Vegas, and Las Vegas and Washington is, if he doesn't do good this week, the ranking's not going to be as good as if he does do well. If he does well against Kansas City, I would say top 14 if he does really well this week. If he doesn't do really well this week, still maybe in the upper 20s, so lower end RB2. ETN probably not, but once again it depends the matchup. So and how well he does this week if it's his backfield this week. I do think Tyler Bidet is going to probably eat into his workload a little more than we want. I would not put him up there with the Lion Hampton. Probably not. Rank these wide receiver options: Keon Coleman, waiver wire options: Keon Coleman, Blake Corum. So it's going to depend a little bit. So Chris Rodriguez is coming right off of an injury, Andre. So that's going to be at the bottom of that group probably because I don't even know if he's going to play. Nice Burrow pickup. Blake Corum is the best running back to stash out of the group. If I can get the number one running back for the Los Angeles Rams in case of an injury, that's the guy I want. So Blake Corum at the top of the list and the best stash running back. I would say Corum. Tootin, I guess Chris Rodriguez and then Keon Coleman. Unless you have any kind of question marks at your wide receiver position, then I would probably take Keon Coleman and leave Chris Rodriguez or Tootin out there if once again if I just needed some sort of small hope and a prayer that I could get a wide receiver that'll blow up for me down the stretch. But, you know, I don't think that's likely to happen. And I don't really like this week for Keon Coleman either. That's true. We don't know if Trey is any good. I do tend to think he's probably, well, he's better than everything else. And those guys have been like semi-usable. Just, you know, it's just been messy. Um, yeah, I would think if the schedule's better there for Trey down the stretch, you know, I would think that his upside's better. So if we don't need RJ Harvey for this week, and let's see, Arizona. So you get week 13, maybe from Trey, right? Isn't that like a possible return time table here? Or even week 12? Jacksonville, Tampa Bay. The Rams is not a good. Houston's meh. Atlanta's okay. Cincinnati's pretty nice. Okay, so I think the tiebreaker for me would be, am I on track to make it into the playoffs? If I'm on track to make it to the playoffs, I would take Trey Benson. If I need help making it into the playoffs, I think RJ Harvey's the route to go. He can give you a couple good weeks there. That's probably how I would break it down between the two. Of course, RJ could do that. Once again, I think honestly, I think Bidet is going to take more carries than we're hoping for. And I don't even know if there's a guarantee that RJ Harvey sees an increased workload. I mean, that's for now what I'm going to project until we're told otherwise by the club. But I wouldn't call that a guarantee anyways. So he'll probably see some sort of increased workload. I should say, I don't know that we'll see him take over as RB1. So I don't even think that's a guarantee, whereas like Trey Benson, once he's back, he is going to be the RB1 there. And that's also a good team. I mean, it actually is. What kind of world? So, you know, everything else that I said on top of that. Because of the bye, I don't think my league picks Alec with our waiver order thing. Yeah, that's fair. It's just not, yeah, I mean, there's just not much out there this week, right? They got Colson Loveland second here on this list. So, it ain't pretty. Although there are tight ends I would choose over Colson Loveland on that list. If you need a tight end, I would say, yeah, it sucks. Looking long term, I'd say Theo Johnson, but this week probably Harold Fannin, and then K-Dot, Theo Johnson, Colson Loveland. I think he's fourth on my list. I mean, shit. Dalton Schultz has been good. If you're just looking for, honestly, if you're just looking for the guy who's been the best so far in the season, it might be Dalton Schultz or Harold Fannin. Schultz, Fannin, Ertz, or Otten. So I have, speaking of tight ends, and I will go back. Okay, it does not look, it looks like you were up next, Caden. So I was just going to make sure I didn't skip over anybody else. Let me pull up my tight end rankings as of right now for the week. So I do like Ertz. Yeah, so there might be some shuffling around yet, but I currently have Schultz. I also have them all back to back to back to back. But part of the shuffling that might be done might be Schultz jumping up. So, yeah, I mean, you know, it's a pretty good matchup there. Not a good matchup for K. Dotton. Everything's fine for Harold Fannin. Really good matchup for Zach Ertz. And then Schultz and Fannin have been the best on the season. Pretty much similar. Schultz, a little bit of a better matchup. A little bit of a better average targets per game. There's no other tight end that he's splitting any kind of workload with, you know, too. So just a little safer Schultz, but and a little bit more, you know, higher touchdown upside due to the implied point total difference there if the game goes like Vegas thinks it would go. Half point PPR, start 1. Brees, ETN, Sutton, or Debo. And that's Sutton. I have Sutton really low in the rankings. I believe that's Brees, probably. Nix or Love? Love. I think Nix is in a really bad matchup. Yeah. I'm not loving Nix this week, so I would go with Jordan Love. Sorry, I don't know exactly what you guys can see on the screen here. I know it's all messed up because it's set up for this screen. But you can see enough. Bo Nix. Alex Saban, what's up? Hey man, this is my team for week 11. What do you think? Drake May, Henderson, Judkins, JSN, Justin Jefferson, McBride, Igbuka. I think you're solid there. Woody might end up outscoring Judkins, but I think you got the right guy in. Bucky Irving's obviously not playing. Harvey, don't get suckered into playing him over Judkins, but would actually play him over Woody even. Wandale, Corum, Pierce, any changes? Yeah, so no changes. You know, once again, don't be shocked if Woody or Harvey ends up outscoring Judkins if Judkins were to have a bit of a bad day, but I still would start Judkins over them. It's just, you know, it might happen. 10-man PPR. Yeah, and PPR pushes that narrative a little bit further. You know, if we get some sort of news report that Harvey's going to get the RB1 workload and all of it, and Tyler Bidet is not going to touch any of that RB1 stuff, maybe we can start to like Harvey a little more, but it's not a good matchup against Kansas City. I don't think Denver's going to be putting up many points against Kansas City. I just don't. I don't have good vibes there, so I would stick with Judkins. That's to me the only potential question mark there. And I mean, do I have Judkins over Henderson? I don't think so. Yeah, you know, I got Henderson just one spot ahead, but I feel much more comfortable about Henderson than I do Judkins. Should I trade Bucky for Pickens or Pittman? Should have done this weeks ago. Mr. Ruiz, how are you doing today? I would you know, sure, for Pickens, I would probably go for instead of Pittman at this point. The only reason I say yes is because, like, so far we haven't really seen a sign of when Bucky's coming back. And the last report on him, it was really, the coach's speak wasn't the best. It was like, you know, he's got to be able to take a hit on his shoulder, and we don't think we're gonna test that this week or something. Like, oh, so we know without even checking on it that he's not good to go this week. So we're still in the week to week phase. So at that point, I would trade him for Pickens probably, yeah. And for Pittman, you could if you really need just help now. But Pittman, of course, has a bye week this week, so that wouldn't do much. So I probably wouldn't want to do that for Pittman. See where we're at in a week with Bucky before doing that. If they would have told me about Hunter's season-ending surgery one day earlier, Burrow would be on my IR. Yeah, bummer. They did kind of warn us. They said he might be going on IR. Yeah, they said he might end up going on IR, and then there was kind of more of a positive news report once he went on IR. I mean, they said it might be a season ender, and then they put him on IR, and it was along with a kind of rosy press report along with once he went on IR. So it looked like we weren't too afraid of that. So, yeah, I guess you're in the clear. Better stash Brian Robinson or Blake Corum? I think Blake Corum. Is, Andre. But it's pretty darn close. I don't know. Because I think Brian Robinson's a more talented running back. I guess I would look at the schedules between the two. So if we were to look at that, So the Rams have Seattle, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Arizona, Detroit, Seattle, Atlanta. That's not bad. That's not bad. And we're buffering. Why are we buffering so long? Is my internet working? Yeah, it is. Okay. Until further information. Holy cow. Oh man, now I lost that for good. Okay, so that wasn't bad. And then once again, I'm sorry if you can't like see this on the screen. Okay, good, you can. Carolina, Cleveland bye week, Tennessee, Indianapolis, Chicago. You know, I would say Brian Robinson's got just some more upside, especially for playoff purposes, in case Christian McCaffrey goes down. I think Brian Robinson looks like the slightly better deal there to have. Galaxy Pickers, what's up? Start Harvey or Marks this week once Dobbins is confirmed out? Yeah, I've got Dobbins. Harvey ahead of Marks in my rankings. I do believe, or is that true? Yeah. Wait, where the heck do I have Harvey? Never mind. I like Woody Marks a lot this week. Still getting used to having Woody Marks up that high. Yeah, so this is I did take what's his face, J.K. Dobbins, out of my rankings. It's just not a good. I don't have good vibes against Denver, against Kansas City. I don't trust that offense against any team, much less Kansas City's defense. So, yeah, I would take Woody Marks in the good matchup there. I do think that Nick Chubb might also get more work this week than last week, and then we're gonna be like, oh gosh, darn it. But hopefully, whatever Woody Marks seems to truly have the RB1 role at least, and should be efficient on it against Tennessee, you would hope. So I would go with Woody over RJ. And RJ, once again, Tyler Batty's going to do something. I don't know how much work, but it might be more than we want. So, Woody. Steve TX, Flex 1, Worthy Franklin or Parker Washington, full point PPR. Parker? I think that's Parker. Especially with it being full PPR. Just want to make sure I'm not... yeah. Troy, once again, you can see I'm generally not too excited about Denver this week. I'm fading, basically. I think... Oh, I didn't even realize that. I think I'm fading Denver everywhere. That's not good. Parker Washington would be my choice. Hey, Forge, my receiver core is terrible right now. JSN, Debo, Matthew Golden, and Garrett Wilson. That doesn't feel so terrible. Hopefully I get Pierce off of waivers this week. There you go. Garrett Wilson and Matthew. Yeah, you're... I won't call it terrible because you have JSN. Your receiver core is struggling. Trade Javonte away for James Cook. Yes, I would probably rather James Cook than Javonte. Playoff schedule is horrible. Yeah, if you don't like the schedule, I've got no problem staying with Javonte over Cook either. I don't think you have to make that trade. I would be fine if the Dallas schedule is good. It's not horrible. Just stick with Javonte then. I have no problem with that. JSN and horrible don't belong in the same sentence. Yeah, see what kind of world. We're on the same page. I don't have a 2, but if Garrett Wilson comes back for the playoffs, I'm chilling. Well, you do have a 2. I mean, Debo's a 2. He's been a 2. Definitely on the lower end of that, and it's been a little bit rough as of late. But I think you should get something better this week against Miami. Maybe not fantastic yet. There's better days ahead for Debo. Again, Caden, should I just play Seattle defense this week? I would rather not. I expect both those offenses to put up a lot of points. True, but Debo would be my wide receiver 1 in my leagues. Yeah. Bruce Leroy, what is up, brother? Flex, Devonta Smith, T. Higgins, Vidal, Woody Marks, or Ken Walker. I do have T. Higgins, I think, is going to end up ranked the highest of the bunch, I assume. I haven't done my flex rankings yet. It's going to be T or it's going to be Woody. But I think I would feel the best about T anyways. T. Higgins, I'm pretty sure about that. Devonta Smith, I do like this week. He's close there. Yeah, that's true. Just don't like Washington offense. Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is, Washington's offense, they do move the ball. I mean, they're not. It's far from the worst situation. There's plenty of offenses that like are really. I mean, I would say they're more consistent in moving, like getting first downs, probably than the Green Bay Packers, even. You know, they obviously struggling from injuries and everything, but like they still are fairly decent at moving the ball somehow, some way. It's probably not the prettiest to watch, but they do it. 7-3. Yeah, I wish I would have traded Washington's running back when he had value. No, Trey Benson got a big injury, Kelsey. So Benson's working on coming back. Bruce, you're very, very welcome. I appreciate you. Ooh, Caden dropping Charbonnet. All right, I'm getting there. Steve TX22, yes, Parker. All right. So it sounds like we were on the same page, at least. Caden, the Patriots are on waiver, but after this last week, Seattle might be the best D in the league. Why would that be? I'm gonna. What am I not thinking about here? Say they played the Cardinals and they allowed 22 points, but their offense got up big early and whatnot and all that good stuff. I don't know what about this week specifically would make them the best, any better or worse of a defense than they already were. No, there's still some issues with that D, but it is a good defense. It's up there. But they're going up against the Los Angeles Rams. There is no parallel that you can draw between Arizona under Josh Dobbs, or not, who's their freaking quarterback, or is that right, Josh Dobbs? Why does that feel wrong? Where are you? Get your dirty hands out here. Jacoby Brissett. Basically the good version of Josh Dobbs. Jacoby Brissett or Matt Stafford and Devontae Adams and the head coach and the offense and Puka and the running backs. It's a bit of a different offense. Yeah, what I will say, Caden, is, I mean, I've stuck with bad defenses because I got nobody to drop before. I mean, heck, it worked. We have head coaches in one of my leagues that I do, actually 2 of them, and the week where Baltimore was playing not a good matchup, coming off of a really bad when Lamar wasn't playing, and then what's his name started for him for the 1 week where they went off. I just played them that week because I just there wasn't anything really. I didn't want to drop anybody, and there wasn't anything worth like going out and getting for the head coaches anyways, kind of. So I just stuck with them and said, screw it. We'll just, there were one or two options maybe that like were projected better, but I was like, I mean, the odds are that Baltimore could be fine, could do something, and then they did. So you just, you never know what's going to happen, especially this year. So if you don't want to drop anybody, I have no problem just sticking with them, knowing that, your team, I think it sounds like has a pretty good record and everything. Why ruin your depth for 1 week? Sometimes you take the possible loss. I think, dropping Kareem Hunt and Wandale is fine. Charbonnet's probably a step ahead of them both. Frizzle, what is up? Ravens, Falcons, and Pats defense this week. So I said Pats over Ravens to somebody else. Atlanta, Carolina. That's interesting, huh? I still think New England is probably my top one. All good options. Tyler Loop or Pinheiro or Cam Little. Okay, so wait. Why are we dropping Eddie Pinheiro in the first place? Do we have to? I assume this is just a question. Tyler Loop against Cleveland. Yeah, I mean, they're... I wouldn't mind it for Tyler Loop. Cam Little. Jackson against Chargers. I wouldn't for Cam Little. If you want to drop Eddie Pinheiro for Tyler Loop, I would say that's probably a slightly good call. But it's pretty close. I won't be using like a waiver wire spot on it, depending on things. I'd probably just wait till after the waiver wire and then do it. Yeah, I just wouldn't use a waiver wire spot on it, Frizz. But I do think Baltimore has a better chance of beating Cleveland than San Francisco does Arizona. And I like to have the team in the lead, ultimately. So I do like the situation just a little bit better for Tyler Loop. I don't know how good he's been percentage-wise and everything this year as a kicker, but it's close enough here that, it can't be that bad. Yeah, I talk about it in the rankings video, man. I don't know. When I originally did the rankings, I hadn't quite thought about it so much, and then I moved them back. I had them fourth, and it is still a really good tight end matchup against Green Bay. But yeah, it's a little bit of a different story. So I erased that history. Yeah, he's probably going to get moved down. His first 3 weeks, 2-5-2. Kansas City, not a good tight end matchup. Washington, average. Dallas, actually not like a great tight end matchup. So it's kind of like, what, a 30% cut to his target share, and maybe we could get like 10 of that back. So that would possibly drop him down into this. Yeah. yeah. I'm going to have to move him. I have to do a lot of movement here. I don't know what to do with this group. I'm going to wait until I get in some of my Thursday numbers here, or tomorrow numbers, one or the other. Tomorrow numbers, I think, to Thursday, before I make some of those changes. It's a good call. It's a good call though. What kind of world? I don't like it. I don't like it. He's definitely gonna have to move down. I just don't know how much yet. Ooh, what kind of world getting into it? Sutton, Debo, BTJ. Or could you get BTJ into an IR spot later in the week if he's ruled out, which he's probably going to be again? Yeah, I probably wouldn't be completely opposed to dropping Knicks because I do believe it's a pretty tough record schedule rest of season there. So I don't think that's the worst advice there. Oh, he's got Love as the starting quarterback. Still probably better than Knicks, at least for this week. And then maybe you could just figure it out between Love and whoever's on the waiver wire from there on out. Frizzle, yeah, okay. I mean, I gotcha. Is there any reason those other defenses wouldn't be? Yeah, I suppose you're probably not going to necessarily want to stream New England against those other teams, so that makes enough sense. But for now, I mean, for this week, I'd rather the Patriots. But I mean, yeah, if you just want to get one team on your roster and you're just looking for a few weeks out, I would have no problem just taking Atlanta over them. I think it's close enough, So that's also true. What kind of world's saying there? They are pretty boom or bust. But going against Carolina, and then whatever other teams you like those matchups against, it could be fine. And really, they haven't been like super boomer. It's just they were pretty darn good for a while, and then they hit a couple of bumps in the road. But maybe they'll be pretty darn good again. Yeah, but Caden, the same can be said about Knicks, But I get what you're saying. You want to kind of just keep your options open, but if it's 12 team or less quarterback, you really only need one anyways on your roster, and you can always just, in bad matchups when you don't like your starter, find something off the waiver wire. Dak, Chase Brown, Jalen Warren, JSN, Buka, McBride, Odunze, T. Higgins for your flexes. Got Burrow, Swift, Marks, Knight, Keenan Allen, and Godwin. Any moves? I'm 5-5 fighting for the blast. This has got to be a 10 team or lesser, huh? No, I mean, I would probably stay put. You've had some rough patches with Odunze, but what are you going to do? You're not going to sell him low. T. Higgins obviously had that rough stretch, but it's been better. It'll hopefully, for the most part, stay better. Ibuka, obviously, things are looking up. JSN's fantastic. Chase Brown, Chase Brown and T. Higgins are basically why you suck. Why your record is not where you want it to be. But they'll be the reason, hopefully, going forward, why now your team will do better with those other pieces. Because you have a lot of good pieces. So there is nothing that I would do, because Chase Brown's still really a tough sell. You can't, sell high on him. People are weary about that. For this week, I think running backs, I still have Warren up ahead of, because he's going against Cincinnati. So I wouldn't have any changes that I would make this week either. Now, Jalen Warren, DeAndre Swift, Woody Marks, which one of them scores the highest amount of points this week? Who knows? But I do have Jalen Warren ranked the highest. And I have Chase Brown ranked quite high, actually. Might be too high in Chase Brown. Yeah, see, I would rather stream quarterback, basically, or keep Love and stream quarterback, slash if need be pick up a different quarterback at any point when I don't trust Love, and then drop them instead of Zach Charbonnet. My league is so weird. It's one quarterback and everyone has 2 to 3 quarterbacks, so the waiver wire is slim. Caden, I'm in a league like that too. It's annoying. But as long as it's not literally everybody, there should still be some pickings. Because I mean, I got tough league. I got tough pickings too. But like last week, I was just picked up Mac Jones. You know, that worked out fine. And that's in a league where I do keep 2 quarterbacks now because I've had it bite me in the butt where I had to stream and it didn't work out so well. So I because I have Brock Purdy and I've been having to move him around all year, I have Dak Prescott as well. But I do have an IR spot, at least in that league. Several of them. Browns defense. 12-team league, but made a bunch of 5-win streak. Yes, Andre. Okay, so you're one of the guys you've been... I think you were asking a lot of trade questions there for a little while, so... Yeah, I mean, I think you're in pretty good position. Just gotta start hitting them. Everything's just gotta click. I don't see any obvious like trade to make. And then you got, Joe Burrow too even here, so... Yeah, you're not going to get more for Swift than what he's worth. You just can't sell high on Swift. Same with Marks. Knight's worth probably nothing. Same with Godwin. Keenan Allen, you got to hope that he comes out of his funk in case you do need him, but hopefully you don't. And hopefully, Odunze, T. Higgins. Odunze can pick things back up. T. Higgins can keep going. Buka you should be fine with. JSN should be fine with. Running back with Swift, Marks, Warren, and Chase Brown. Hopefully you'll hit on those. And then your quarterback, you should be good. Tight end, you're definitely good. So, got a lot of good pieces. I don't see anything obvious to do trade-wise, though. I think you're kind of just hoping that you win from now on forward, which you got a 5-game win streak going, so that's nice. That is the other thing. What kind of world too? In that kind of league, sometimes you can just drop somebody, or if somebody picks them up, they might drop somebody that you like even more because of the name value. I would say yes, drop Nix instead of Charbonnet. And I would say yes, probably. What kind of world, Caden? Love the interaction. July, I just traded away Javonte and Zay for BTJ and James Cook. Good trade or no? It seems fair enough. So Javonte Cook is kind of sideways. BTJ, obviously you don't have currently, but hopefully gives you more upside than Zay. Definitely no guarantee. So, okay, so that was the trade you were asking before between Javonte and James Cook, and you were nervous because of rest of season schedule. Because I was going to say, well, apparently Javonte's got a better schedule than James Cook rest of season. Yeah, if you're trying to win a championship, right? So BTJ, never know. Trevor Lawrence could get hurt, and the backup quarterback could breathe some life into that, just like what happened last year. But no, like in all seriousness, BTJ could have a fantastic back end stretch once he comes back. Hopefully that will be sooner than later. Could be as soon as this week, might not be. So yeah, all in all, I think it's fine. I don't ultimately think that you're going to lose the championship because of this trade, and I think that it gives you a little bit of a higher percentage chance of winning it just because BTJ's ceiling's higher than Zay Flowers' ceiling. Will that be realized? I don't know. Tough to say. What kind of world? Thank you for talking through that with Caden. That is awesome, and I agree with like everything that you were saying, as is most often the case. So it seems like controlling squirrels is by far and away our favorite superpower here, guys. And I am in agreement with that. Caden, it's nice to see you again, by the way. So I'm glad that you're coming back around. I think this is maybe 3 weeks or so that I've seen you around. So love to see it. Changing the color of objects. Interesting. Super sliding. I think way undervalued here. And cheese manipulation, I think, being overvalued. I mean, what does cheese manipulation mean, folks? I can melt cheese. I don't need a superpower to do that. I can tear it apart. I can shred it. I can just buy a different cheese if that's what it means. Does cheese manipulation mean change it into a different cheese? I mean, I don't know. It just seems like a little bit of convenience, but for the most part, I plan ahead well enough. I don't know. Cheese manipulation, I think you guys are overrating that. Or am I just missing it? Can we make a cheese monster? Is that what we're doing? Am I missing the fun in it? But controlling squirrels, obviously, freaking awesome. Super sliding, I think lots of fun. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like wood floor, some socks. I'm gonna take a rushing start and slide on that. And if I could just slide on any surface for a really long distance, I'd be walking around all day, just not even walking, sliding all day. Oh, Caden, awesome. All right, you've been around for a little bit longer. Well, you know, YouTube did the name change thing, so I probably recognize like a full name or something differently, and then the name change happened. All right, so I think that's going to be it. It seems like we've gotten everybody's questions answered. It's been a really long day for me, so I'm happy to end the poll there. You guys can thank Lance Bro. You know Lance. You can thank him. Lance goes by a couple of different names too in chat sometimes, but seems to be Lance a lot lately. You can thank him for us getting the poll up there. Squirrel power. You know, if I make some gear at some point, we might have to get some squirrel power shirts going. All right. We'll get squirrel power. We'll just get the logo on some nice polos, and we'd get May the Forge be with you. I think would have to be one of them as well. I appreciate you guys. Any other questions, hit enter now. Otherwise, I'm going to end it, and I'll come back with a working mic at some point today. My computer said, I don't recognize your microphone anymore. Good fight, good night, and may the Forge be with you as well. What kind of world, everybody? Good night to you. Peace out.